cool. Whatever. We'll do it. We'll just start, and it'll be a thing. And we're streaming. I just took a thumbnail, and I happened to check everything, and I think we're good to get a short flight out of today. So, yeah. Short flight out of today it is. Before it gets too dark over here in this part of the world, we're alive all there. Gotta go fast, gotta go fast, gotta go fast. Where are these silly pyramids at? Here we are. That says departure. We're into the 105. Hello. Yeah, daytime stream. We're doing it, boys. We're doing it. I was up earlier, but I figured it was kind of already dark over here, so I just kind of ignored it. Yep, saving back. We'll do the Rowan Atwood one. Cool. Preemptively, just planning. I'm going here, which we have plenty of fuel for. I just didn't update the fuel in it. Sure. Something short-ish. But, these flights have to happen. Just because we're on the other side of the world. So time zones, whatever. That's why we're streaming at 11:50. And like I said, I was up at 10, but I just didn't think that... Why am I in the air? Crap. That's right, because helipads do a weird thing. In flight. We have to select spot on ground. Because helipads will start you spinned up. For some reason. On ground shut down. And then we're coming at least out here. We should be able to make it there, but at least here. So I don't want to fly in the dark if necessary. It says arrival. Start. Yo, helicopter team. What up? Yes, BO105 today. Thank you. Probably getting you before working hours here, which is unique. Because usually at night you're at work. Let's see, we'll get rid of all of our little things there like that. BO105. So we take the blade socks off. We have static port covers. We have wheels. And we can inspect the skids. We can take this off. We can open up the back, all this stuff. And if you're unfamiliar, Rowan Atwood, this is his helicopter, same number and everything, 8809 Whiskey. And we have Elaine with us today. Yeah, cool helicopter. Love it. Been flying this thing a good bit here recently, just in my off time. I'll say off time, but like the past couple of days that it's been around, I have been flying it. Okay, so if y'all haven't watched the startup procedure video, this is how it goes. Battery master on. Strobe light on. Main tanks all switched to on. Throttle all the way down. I've got my governor off. I'm going to turn it back on to make sure it's where it's supposed to be. Yeah, there's no good local BO105s that I know of. Anyways, starter, engine 1. See this thing moving here? That's our engine 1 in 1. Once it hits about that area here, we're going to come up here, click that button, and roll that up to idle. Yeah, I don't know of any 105s in Georgia. Cletus will fly over every once in a while. There's 40%. We can turn that on. Which means we can go and start this one. David Rogers, what's going on? Welcome to the day stream. Okay, we're the correct percentage there. Roll that up one. Waiting to see 40% on that engine. Which I'm looking down here. We're at 30, 40 when we hit here. Okay, that can go on. Position, anti-collisions can go on. Pitot heat, don't need engine anti-icing. That's all good. It'll say starter on engine 2 for a little bit, even though it's technically not engaged right now. Playing hooky from work, oh yeah. That's the only way to do it, really. I'm gonna close that there. I'm gonna roll you up. It's gonna beep at me because it's gonna say, hey, you have low rotor RPM, but your things are in fly. But yeah, I know because it's spinning up a speed. Okay, so let's see. Let's look over here. Mouse all the way to the right. And I also need to top off fuel. So we are all the way fueled up now. Got hand throttle rolled all the way up. Usually doesn't matter, but whatever. Extremely good flight model with this helicopter, by the way. So if anybody's looking at getting a third-party fun helicopter, the 105 is it. I mean, the OH-6 from Taux is good too, but this 105 is super solid. And this thing cruises. I can, like, pretty comfortably cruise it to, like, 130. Thanks, man. I'll do my best to be keeping up all the good work that I can. Plus, this week it's weird. So, like I've been saying, I want to post every day this week. Or this month. I missed one Sunday just because I was so busy, didn't have anything planned. But Sunday, day of rest, I'm not going to cry about it. 97% for the month is better than 4% for the month. Anyways, it's just been rainy this week. If you're in the southeast, I honestly haven't paid attention to weather for the rest of the country, but if you have any idea or any sort of like general knowledge of what weathers look like the past week here in the southeast, we've been rainy, which is good because we've been dry for a while now. So it's nice to have some good rain for everybody. So technically the rain's been giving me the excuse to play hooky from work. Because since film isn't filming right now, or it's filming just for other stuff that I'm not on, or they don't have guns, or whatever the case is. But that makes this my work. So the rain's been giving me hooky excuses. So I've been knocking out the little how to start videos for the helicopters, which easy enough to do, easy enough to knock out, shows the consistency on the channel. Super wet this week. Oh yeah. Which sucks because I wanted to get like an evening night flight in a 34 Lima this week. Power lines out here. I wanted to get a night flight in 34 Lima this week. Or like an evening something, because next Thursday I'm doing a rental of the Weather Plays Right. And it'll be evening. So, I should be fine. I'm not getting near dark. We're in the time of year where it's pretty light, pretty late, so. Oh yeah, our grass, we have Empire zoysia here at the house, and it loves this rain. Loves it. Like, it can't get enough of this rain, which I'm glad, you know, it's, I don't want to be like, oh, we paid a lot of money. Ooh, golf course grass. I don't want to be like, man, we paid a lot of money for this grass, but I mean, yeah, we bought sod and did the whole yard, and it looks great. About a quarter acre's worth. So it's nice to have some sort of greenery where me and the dog can run out and play on it and do things. So Oh, also on the daytime streams. So, part of me not doing these is I've been waking up about now on days that don't start with Sunday for the past like 2 to 3 weeks, just because it's like, oh cool, I don't have a point to wake up early, not working. Our show, I work, it's just the show's not active right now. So it's like, cool, what else am I supposed to do? Sleep in, stay up late, whatever. So I started, I'd seen a video on YouTube, and then of course once I saw, also I do want to point out all these buildings here in Egypt look extremely different than all the buildings that we've seen everywhere else. So very cool for Microsoft Flight Sim to actually model differences in buildings and greenery and everything. Anyways, so I read this stuff, did my own research or whatever, but it's talking about olive oil. How it's a natural anti-inflammatory when you get the real stuff, the good, like extra virgin, not fake, not in a clear bottle, you know, good olive oil. And this guy was talking about doing 3 tablespoons a day, not directly after a meal because it will sit on top of the meal and mess up your digestion and everything. But I started doing that a few days ago, and he's like, yeah, after like day 2 you'll be kind of gassy, day 3 you'll feel pretty good, day 4 you'll feel really great, day 10 like you'll lose like 4.5 pounds. I'm like, I don't need to lose that much weight, but I can tell you I have more energy now. I haven't changed my eating habits, I haven't changed anything else. I'm on like day 4 now. I feel a significant difference from 3 tablespoons of olive oil. Like one like an hour after breakfast, one like an hour after whatever lunch is, one like an hour after, 2 hours after dinner. Kind of judge, like if you're not feeling full, take your tablespoon, you know, if you're not feeling full from the meal. Either way, significant difference. And this morning, like woke up early with no alarm, with energy. So, big difference. So anybody's looking for something, a cool thing to do to get onto it, I can suggest it right now. If I drop dead in a week, maybe wait and come back and see what I say then, but for now, I'm feeling great. But it has to be the good stuff. When you drink it, it's got to be, which is like 2/3 of a shot glass full, as a tablespoon. But when you drink, it has to be like a small burn in the back of your throat. That's whatever the chemical in it is that has all the good, I'll say like Tylenol benefits, but without the destroy your stomach lining and kill you parts of Tylenol. What's your arrival or fly the route? Let's see. HEMM Hotel Echo Mike. 200-mile flight-ish. So we should be getting there just after sunset, I believe. Of course, I took off from the pyramids, but taking off from Cairo International probably put you in the same boat. already quiet. Did the music stop? Or is it just physically quiet here for me? Sounds like it stopped. I'm going to sit down real quick and we'll check that. Cool helicopter W just being able to land. Let's see. My mouse. Where's my mouse? Okay, so this song gets all the way to the end. Where does it go? Okay, cool. We back into business. And max performance-ish. Also, good sounds with this helicopter. By the way, every sound on this helicopter, buttons, switches, startup, engine, whatever, this is all actually Roman Atwood's helicopter. So they went to his place and recorded all of his noises. North of our destination. Oh, okay. Yeah, which that may be the next stream. We'll see what the distance and everything looks like if we can play that with one of our long haul cruisers. And if that's doable, our next stream will be crossing the Med. Or I can fly a little bit in the dark today and get us to a place that's more optimal for that. Then we'll do just kind of like a second half of the stream getting us there. We'll see. No big deal. Not like this is really costing me any real money, you know? I will say, this helicopter model is really making me like the 105s. Because this is the aerobatic helicopter. It's the one that Red Bull uses for all their flips and tricks and stuff. And it looks cool. Looks a little bit like a pill, but I mean, it's so cool. Like if I had less than $1 million to spend on a turbine helicopter, it would be this, 100%. Close second would be a Gazelle, just because they're freaking sick. But I like this twin engine. The engines that it does have, extremely capable, extremely readily available. Super good rotor head design. A lot of things that needs to be replaced on it are like on condition. So as long as it's good, you're not worried. It's not like you have a 10-year blade or a 5,000 hour blade. It's like, cool, the blades look good, you're good. Yeah, electricity bill's the only thing that I'm paying for. Look at that, we can do that legitimately now since we have the aerobatic helicopter. Yeah, 3 tablespoons of olive oil a day. Feeling great so far. Yeah, we can actually do fun things with it. But to be fair, you can loop a lot of helicopters. You can roll a lot of helicopters. I mean, A-Star you can. The Black Hawk's been done. Little Birds can. The 145s, 135s use the same rotor head design as this. Like, a lot of them that you can. But I think this is the only one that's legally allowed. At least in the US, I believe, something like that. So, but I can tell you, doing like fun rips and everything with it, I don't want to say just like obviously the MD, especially the Talx Hanger 500C. The Cowan Sim 500E, don't get me wrong, it's good. The 086 500C from Talx, better modeled in my opinion. It rips. It's definitely more of a jetpack. But, like, this one's heavier. It's got 2 engines out of the 500C. That's the same engine, I believe. C20s. It's good. It's just fatter and it's slower. Even though we can cruise 130, I think it's probably like the same cruising speed. But it's slower getting up there. It feels more sluggish just because it's big. But it just feels tankish, if that makes sense. Like, at least from flying into the sim here, I'm convinced that if I were buying a sub-million or even sub-$750,000 helicopter right now, you can get these in flying condition for $400,000, $500,000. There may be some issues that you'll have to address and take care of later, but finding one that already has all those things taken care of and overhauled or whatever, paying $650, $700. And it's like you get the newer models, the CS5 or whatever. Apparently they have really, really good air conditioning and stuff. You can see the vents in this one. Like, yeah, fuel consumption kind of sucks, but that's, you kind of get that with aviation anyways. The little R22 that you fly, it burns like 9 gallons per hour, so, and you calculate it as a 10 gallon per hour burn. It's like, okay, cool, if you're driving the speed limit in a car, you're doing 70 miles in that 1 hour, and if you have a decent car, or not a decent car, but like a decently efficient car, that's like 2 gallons of gas. You're talking about an itty-bitty helicopter, well, yeah, you can fly 100 miles an hour if you're pushing it, but realistically, you're flying 80 miles an hour, and you're burning 5 times the amount of fuel to go just about the same distance with higher maintenance cost and no air conditioning. But it's a helicopter, so. Yeah, I was actually only going to do a record a video today. I figured I'm still going to. I'm going to record a video after this, just that way I have something. Put a couple in the bank and just have those sitting ready to go from unlisted to public. But I want to do like a 2 or 3 hour video. Me and Helicopter King were talking about the other day. Valeska had kind of brought it up to me at one point. But if you look up like driving to fall asleep to or motorcycle riding to fall asleep to, there's 2, 3, 4 hour videos on YouTube where it's somebody sets up a GoPro on their bike and they just go ride for like 2 or 3 hours through like good looking city lights. It's good constant noise and just like when you give a baby a ride in a car to put them to sleep, that sort of thing. And the thing is, people will put that sort of video on and then legitimately try to go to sleep to it. So as long as you're not busting them with mid-roll ads everywhere, you put like an ad at the beginning and an ad at the end, your watch time is ridiculous. It may not be the highest earning video just because of mid-roll ads and stuff. But I mean, that's also like being a nice creator. Like there are the people who try to extract everything out of people. But if I was doing something like that, I wouldn't drop a whole bunch of mid-rolls in it just because I feel like that'd kind of go against the point of the video. And it's like, okay, cool, you're obviously trying to mimic stuff. Interesting landscape. Also, I started looking into like the Egyptian, the current, not like an old ancient one, but like the current Egyptian viaducts and canals where they're trying to start like a massive national growth project to feed the citizens and everything. It's wild. And we're almost just flying directly at the sunset now. Also, I think it's cool that you can pretty much just run these at 100%. There's no like 5-minute takeoff power limitations or anything. At least that I can figure out. There might be some listed in the manual, but I haven't read any sort of literature yet. Only on 105. Thursday, that'll be fun to be me and Dad. I'd like to try to get like a little night flight in before then, just to re-up that currency in case we are there any later. But if not, I'll just make sure we're leaving on time either way. Crop circles, that's for sure. So they are piping in water from somewhere. I don't know if they're redirecting Nile stuff. I mean, obviously, if they were pulling from the Med, they'd have to desalinate it, which is a huge deal. But I want to say there's like this, like if you kind of look over there, it's kind of uphill. And apparently it's like this huge area out here somewhere where it's hundreds of square miles of like depressed area that they want to fill up and make a lake. I believe. It's something like that. So it'd be cool if this had a radar altimeter. I'd be down with that. I'd be down with like a turn indicator or something, so that way I could have trim figured out. I feel like that's all something that you can do on your own time. I need to look more into the aqueduct viaduct thing. That's just Egypt trying to bury their history and hide the real pyramids from us, not just show us the fake pyramids. There's so much stuff with the pyramids there that it's just... you don't even know who to believe anymore. Well, I do have a problem with established forms of historians, just because they all do kind of gatekeep their profession. Their profession, their everything, really. Their ideas, they don't want to be wrong because they've built a whole career on being right. Well, if I'm wrong here, he might be wrong somewhere else, you know? But at the same time, there's a lot of evidence pointing to other stuff as well. I wonder what G limits are on this thing. I obviously don't think you can do anything too huge, because like all the tricks that you watch Fitzgerald and them do. I think Steve Erskine does tricks too. I think he's licensed for it. I think all the tricks you see people do, they're relatively like no G change sort of things. They're all pretty straightforward. Pyramids are abandoned alien spaceships and ancient ships were put there by the aliens. So I don't think the pyramids are spaceships, just because of size, weight, mass, and everything. But also, if there's other sorts of propulsion methods, could be. But if I was betting on anything alien or space related, I would lean them towards a beacon or a energy source for space travel. Or even maybe just hiding it. Maybe they parked the spaceships under it, or they found some old abandoned spaceships and they built the pyramids over it to distribute the energy from these spaceships. True fact, by the way. Confirmed. You went out there last weekend and checked on it. Over here doodle flying around. We're trying to do business here today. Don't know what I'm doing. You know, crop circles, all the circular roads when we were getting into Cairo, all the traffic circles. Very alienish. Why don't they just do straight roads like normal people? Then again, I'm the one over here flying in the world's wiggliest line, so I don't have too much room to talk. Hey, it's the straightest road. This looks good right here. Other than the fact that it's grainy-esque, just being Microsoft Flight Sim, Microsoft Flight Simulator through VR. Other than the graininess, pixely-ish, whatever. Like, looks good, like, good colors, good little bit of green, some desert, sunset out there, variety of fields, just enough haze in the sky to give you a good gradient around. There's a circle bus station between two of the pyramids. It's so weird. So part of me just has that thought process where it's like, cool, the pyramids are old. There's really nothing that we're going to get from the pyramids other than just like solving our own personal mysteries of trying to figure out what happened. But also I'm like, dude, it's cool, it's ancient. Like, history should be preserved and shared with those in the future. Maybe learn past lessons. Obviously try to figure out technology. Because I definitely lean away from the, it was a national project, all of Egypt got together and built these pyramids. I don't believe that shit for a second, okay? I think there was some form of technology, don't know what it was, that helped create those. It would be intense for us to, I think we could do it now. We have the technology and the capabilities to do it with heavy machinery. The only downside is cost, obviously. And then, like, who's funding it? If it were to be like a non-cheat and still sort of construction project, where people are paid appropriately, you're not worried about trying to extract money from the government, everybody's doing it fairly, I think it's something that could be done. The funding would be the issue. But in today's world, it's like, oh, the government's paying for it. Cool, the price goes up like 60 times. Oops, another delay. You're already this far in. Are you going to be the government that left behind an unfinished pyramid? Nope, gotta pay more. So, with that, it wouldn't happen today. But I think we have the capability of doing it. We can put our heads together and do it. And just looking at what we would have to, I see your other messages. You feel that the two main pyramids are exactly 45 degrees from each other. Or rotate exactly with the longitude. Yeah, there's a lot of like unique things. The one thing that everybody's like, well, if you multiply the base of it by this number or whatever, you get the circumference of the Earth. That's the most easily explainable one that most people get hung up on. If you, like, you go to Home Depot now and you get a piece of surveying equipment, I forget what they're called, but it's a little wheel on a stick that you push and you measure around. The wheel's a circle. So no matter what you measure out with it, it's going to be something that's divisible by 3.14 or 2 pi r squared, whatever. So when they were making the pyramids, they were obviously using something that you push on the ground like a wheel, and so like, okay, cool, wheel turned over 1,700 times along the base, so we're going to build the next corner 1,700. So like, and guess what? The Earth's round. So like, I get that. That's not something where I'm like, oh man, they're doing it because they knew the circumference of the Earth. They might have. I'm more in the thought that I think it's entirely possible that they had a civilization. They used the S-64. They used the S-6400 Sky Crane. I'm more under the impression, or I find it more believable, that, which this is easily provable, if you go out into a junkyard, or you go out into the woods or something and you find an old car. This old car used to be completely nice, clean, steel, paint and everything. Over the years, it's rusted and it's turned back into dirt. Very iron heavy dirt, but it's turned back into dirt, and that's only taken 100 years. So I find it completely plausible that they had a heavy metal society beforehand, and maybe it was a 50,000 years ago thing, way further back than what is currently explained. And after 50,000 years, there's no metal left. Like I said, there would be like iron heavy soil, there would be things, other traces of things left around, but we honestly don't know what a 50,000 year ago society of our level looks like. Or 50,000 year ago society that has the technology we do, but maybe they lived somewhere that we didn't expect. Maybe they lived on big floating cities in the middle of the oceans or something. Who knows? And that was just a place on the ground. Like, I find that more plausible than a whole bunch of people with sticks and strings pulling them up the side of this thing. There's a water float theory that was also decent, but whatever. All the blocks of semis and the tower cranes, yeah, obviously. Have you heard of Bob the Builder? Does he look human, or does he look like he's created? He was created probably after the image of an alien that created pyramids with heavy metal technology. Elaine, don't you dare look at me like that. But then again, it is also completely possible that it was just the national project of ancient Egypt where everybody came together and put it together. It's possible. You get enough people together and you can do a lot. But also, that's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. The people who conceived it and started it never saw the completion of it. Sort of work. But that's also believable at the same time. Construction workers are aliens. Wait, never mind. I see what you did there. It's possible. And the multi-generational thing, it's possible because you look at somewhere like Notre Dame. Beautiful cathedral. And it was like, what, a 600-year build or something like that? Like some ridiculously long amount of time that it took to build that cathedral. So, like, yeah, completely possible in my mind as well. Oh, do I have it as part 6 in the thing? Time to change that. No, I think I can change it here. Content. fix this. Casually landing in the middle of absolutely nowhere. It's funny, I've been decelling for a while, and now we're at like my average cruising speed of an R22. Also hard to tell like how high up we are until we get down to where like the little bushes start rendering in. Okay, let's see. I gotta go to actual YouTube. Y-O-U. There we go. Part 66. Ooh, spooky. Save. Cool, you can update your page and see it correct now. There we go, part 66. I can't believe you didn't call that out sooner. Just noticed? Oh, okay. To be fair, in OBS, I can like save information from the previous broadcast or whatever. So when I did part 65, you click save this information, so when I loaded in to start another broadcast today, all that information was already there. So it's nice for the Around the World one because that's my consistent series. If it's like an EMS one or whatever, I'll just make sure I'm typing it the same like nomenclature format that I do. So I'll like look at previous ones like, okay, I do life as an EMS pilot or whatever. But yes, everybody, part 66. Which this does put it on track. If we were to not do the South America thing, I think this would put us on track for 100 episodes. I believe so. With the South America edition that we're doing, I think this definitely puts us more on track for 120 episodes. Still not horrible, but 140 miles from destination, a little bit over an hour. Also, I do want to do another video with the 105. I want to do a like review sort of video on it, a little bit more in depth. I didn't get a pre-production version of it, like Fellow 242 and a few of the other bigger helicopter streamers. But either way, I'd like to do a review of the actual release model. And I also want to do a stealing Rowan Atwood's helicopter video. Of course, I'm not going to, even though I know where his house is, I'm not going to start it at his house. Just because that's doxy for him, and if you want to figure it out, you can figure it out, Arrow. But he's had issues with that in the past, so it's not my place to do. Oh, you think 117 will be our... You think that'll be the total, or you think that'll be the getting back in Georgia number? I'm not stealing it, I'm picking it up and delivering it to Lexington, Kentucky, where Thoroughbred Aviation is. And that's the idea for the video. Because I'm back in Georgia at 117, we're literally just doing so. The plan is to go down the East Coast. Like, we may stop in Georgia at Savannah or something like that. But the plan is effectively to go to the Tampa area, so we can fly by Cletus's place, Freedom Factory, Bald Eagle Airfield, do that officially. Continue on down Florida. And either jump through the Bahamas and follow the islands around, or Key West, Cuba, and then follow the islands around. Hit, what is it, Colombia, Venezuela, something up there, and then immediately come back up through. Just enough to touch, like, that's our quickest, most efficient way of hitting South America, without, like, driving there through Central America and then driving back through Central America. I don't want to fly back over my own path if possible. So, a lot of water crossings in the Caribbean, but it's more island hopping. They're relatively close. It should be like, cool, you take off from one, you get a little bit of altitude, you can see the next one. But like an entire day or two of that, or an entire episode or two of that. But I think 30 episodes between now is extremely realistic to be back in the US and on the East Coast. Because really it's, if I fly further into the night today, which I really don't want to, I just kind of want to knock something out quick. We could fly further into the night today. And that could put us where tomorrow we make it into Europe. Okay, so 120 total till we finish the series. Or 120 will be the finish of the series, gotcha. Yeah, I think 100's definitely obtainable for being back in Georgia. Or at least crossing over it to go to Florida, then do the South American diversion. Also, I climbed this up to around 1,600 feet. Why? Because I can. Makes the sun last a little bit longer. Coming up on a road or an aqueduct or something. Also, don't know what I think about the daytime streams. Even though I'm still going to have a full day to do stuff after this, and it's not like I'm used to falling asleep after we do these things. Like showering and going to bed. It'd be weird having things to do, like taking the headset off and it being daytime outside. So there's a water running next to it. This might be viaducty. There's more sun at flight level 290. Oh, I'll work my way up there then. Also, fun fact, we will be flying that if we touch Germany or anywhere around Germany when we get through Europe, we'll be flying this. This will be one of the things we fly, because this was a German tank killer helicopter. And they had missile pods attached to the side, and we have the Iron Cross on the side of this one. Such a cool helicopter. And like, it's hard to really see, but you got seating for like good seating back there for 3 people. If you do skinny seats, you can do 4, like the A-Stars. But more importantly, underneath the seats goes all the way back to the back door, so you have like a full pickup truck bed back there that's capable of being used. Luftwaffe. Exactly. Yeah, I love the 105. I loved it before Roman had it. I loved it before Heavy D had it. It was probably Red Bull who like initially got my interest in it. Just like, oh cool, helicopter does loops, let's look into it. So probably good influence from them. But nonetheless, I've liked this helicopter for a while. Twin engine, turbine, affordable, reliable engines. It's not like your... So no hate on Augusta. But there's a reason the 109s are as cheap as they are. Like, they've had a hard bid for their older stuff. Their newer stuff's good. Their older things were a bit rougher. I'm not talking out of any personal experience, it's just what I've heard through the grapevine. Whatever, you know, no big deal. Everybody has a bad day. Yeah, Germany is all my places that I wouldn't mind living. But I want to live in like 90s Germany, not 2026 Germany. 2026 Germany has been ruined by 2026 world. I want Germany, not whatever it is now. Same thing with a lot of Europe. I would be so happy living in a lot of European areas. If it was that European area, not being washed away. It's like, I think Switzerland has like more lax gun laws than the US does. '40s Germany, definitely. Not like late 40s Germany where everybody hated them for no reason. But like 30s Germany, 40s Germany, early 40s Germany when it was good, yeah. But even then it's like, are there some things that the Mustache Man said that were good? There's a lot of things that Mustache Man's government did that was good. But also it was very communist leaning, which I'm not cool with. But I'm very cool with the nationalist part because I think you should have pride in your country, and your country should stay your country. You know, people can visit, a few people can move in here, there, whatever. But I don't think you should wash away countries. So like, I'm pro a lot of Mustache Man's nationalist views just because I think that's a great thing, you know, promote families. Like, there was so much national pride back then on a whole bunch of stuff got rid of a whole bunch of the... I'm trying to think of a way to say this tactfully. All the things that they were trying to get rid of in 40s Germany were causing a lot of bad influences in there. All the books that they were getting rid of were causing a lot of bad influences in there, which are being pushed by the things that they were trying to get rid of. Blah, 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 blah. A lot of good things were happening, but then the whole commie part, kind of like, eh. The whole socialist commie part, eh. Nationalist part, yeah, cool. I'm all about national pride, bring it on. It's like, yeah, it wouldn't be bad. Be better than now, honestly. Honestly, now there's like no more Germany. Like you have to get like wild Germany to find actual Germany, and you go to popular places, and it's just like cool. There's no Germans there anymore. Same thing, like towns in the U.S. and Canada and stuff like that. It's like, cool. There's no Americans here. And American's such a loose term to begin with. But I mean, you can obviously tell the difference between somebody who's assimilated to the American type culture and somebody who hasn't. Big churches. I want happy cookouts. I want safe streets. I don't want anybody in an elected position telling me what to do. I want a helicopter. Welcome to Flying Through Egypt, where we rant about world orders. And the bankers. Germany is more like the small towns with Leicester. Yeah, exactly. Like, I'll see videos from, like, I don't know what it would be called there, but, like, town festivals or get-togethers or neighbor-type things there. And it just looks so good. It looks so beautiful. Like, the people, the culture, the food, everything just looks so good. Funnily speaking about that sort of thing, I think it was a movie. It was called Guess Who's Back? I think it was called Guess Who's Back. Anyways, German movie, or European movie, because I think it was all in German, but captioned. But anyway, it was like Mustache Man, when he died, he happened to time travel to like 2020 or something like that. And everybody thought he was just like a reenactor. And they're like, oh, that's funny. But then he's like doing his speeches, and everybody's like, yeah, this reenactor has some good ideas. We like him. And then they end up voting him in power again. Because he starts running for political office, and people think it's just a reenactor. I can't tell just because I can't watch the behind the scenes and understand what's happening, not speaking German. But it almost looks like they got a lot of the ideas about... Oh, there's the sea up there. A lot of the like clips of people like reacting to him from like in real life. People like where they were just walking around, the dude who was playing him in costume and everything, like walking him around. You've seen it? And like... Tell me if I'm wrong, but it looks like a lot of like the reactions from people in the wild were like real reactions from people in the wild, but then obviously there's the scripted parts of the whole storyline. So this is annoying. I've gotten an email from a guy like a couple of years ago. he's like, hey, my email's out a few different places, my personal, which, whatever, no big deal. But he emailed me, he's like, hey, my name's Bill, whatever, I forget his name. I'm a retired police officer up in Washington State. I'm looking to get into movie industry, armory, and firearms and stuff like that. Or he was like, hey, I'm looking to get into it or something. Then eventually there was like, hey, I got booked for a small budget thing. What should I do? How should I charge them? Or whatever. And so I was giving him pointers and stuff like that. And for a lot of gun people, I tell them, like, look, you don't want in the industry. This isn't a line of work. It may seem really, really cool and novel right now, which it is. Don't get me wrong, it's a very uniquely novel job. But it's not something that you're going to love forever, unless you're a certain type of person. But if you're a gun guy like me, and you have a lot of like personal beliefs and morals and stuff, then you're going to be not cool with a lot of stuff. It's like, if you really want to do it, here's how you get into it, but please look out for this. Don't fall for the, oh, well, I'll just let them do this, because that's where you're going to get in trouble. You have to know how to stand your ground. Anyway, so I told him all that. And he just emailed me. He was like, hey, don't know if you remember me, I emailed you a couple of years ago about this or whatever, but I see that they're filming Heat 2, and I really, really want to work on that production, and would you happen to know who to talk to get into that? And no offense against this guy, if he ever finds this video somewhere, like, good for you for still pushing for it. But no, like, one, I don't know where. I don't know who's doing it, don't know how they're doing it, don't know the production company doing it. So there's a chance, which I don't think so, because it has such a high thing to live up to for a lot of people. Like, Heat was a good movie, but most people remember it because the gun work was pretty solid. So there's a chance that they're doing live fire, not live fire, but like blanks. But so many production companies now do not want to touch blanks. So many do not want anywhere near it. So with that, like, okay, cool. I don't know what production company is with it. If they're not doing blanks, and they're just going to do VFX and stuff and really, really pay attention to VFX or whatever, like, I'm sorry, but you're not on there, period. Like, they're bringing in a good armorer for it, and like a good technical advisor, but you're not touching it. And even then, with it being Heat, like, it's obviously going to be like a hitter of a director. It's going to be a hitter of everything. Every single department head of this production is going to be a hitter, capital H. I've been in the industry for 10 years. I cannot touch that production. There's a chance I'd be brought in for like an assistant armorer or something, but that's only if I personally know the armorer and he calls me. And then again, I'd also have to be living in LA, because I'm going to assume it's an LA-based production. Yeah, like, if he's asking me all that, it's like, okay, cool, then you haven't gotten into the industry to a level where you can use your resources, because I can go on my resources and figure out who's doing it. That's no big deal. But if you haven't gotten into the industry to a point to where you have the connections to do that connection outside of me, then, like, I'm not going to give you somebody's phone number or email to call. I'm sorry. I'm not that guy. I don't hand out people's contact information. Like, good for him for still pursuing it, but like also realize that there's levels and echelons to what's happening. Like there's a hierarchy of things that happen. And like, sure, I would have loved to be an armor or a stunt driver or something on Baby Driver. Super good movie, a lot of good action, a lot of really good driving. Know a lot of people who worked on it. That was right when I was joining the industry. It doesn't matter how good I was at doing my job. I didn't have the history to work on that production. Just like I don't have the history to work on a James Bond or something like that, you know. So I don't want to be mean with the fact that he can't see that there's an unspoken knowledge of like, okay, cool, like you've been doing this for a while, I know you, I trust you, you've proven yourself, or you've come highly recommended from somebody. That carries a lot of weight. I don't know him outside of a few emails. And then in the few emails that I did get, sounded somewhat desperate-ish. Which I can respect the drive and the want to do something in the industry, you know. It's if there's something that you're passionate about, it's nice to be able to push and chase and pursue that. Don't get me wrong. So we're now at 95 miles. What's our ground speed? 126. Okay, cool. So little headwind. So there's something nice about having the drive to want to do things like that. And that's not lost on me. Because I have the drive to do a lot of things like that, and I'm like, hey guys, I can do this, but I don't have the history, and I can also respect the fact that they're not going to let me in because I don't have the history. So, neither here nor there. But he was like, yeah, I live up in Washington State, so far Pacific Northwest, way, way, way up there. And then if this is something filming, and he was talking about, I was like, hey, like, I don't know of many productions up in that area. So you'd have to work, this was a couple of years ago, like you would have to know people in LA, which I know people in LA, but again, I'm not giving out their information. You gotta talk to them. And then at that point, it's like, cool, you're retired and you're happy, and you don't need the money. Because he told me he's like a 50-year retired cop or something like that, where he's been doing it forever. Maybe not 50, like 40 year retired. Anyways, cool, you've got money. Like, you've got a pension that you're pulling. But the fact that you're like desperately like, man, I don't care if I need to pay for my own hotel and stuff or get an Airbnb so I have a local address, but man, I really want to go down there and work in California. I'm like, that's desperate. That's desperation. Because you're not getting like, you're not even doing that for fame. You know, it's not a I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna become famous, where it's like, cool, you want to work on the famous things. You don't want to work on the small shows where they have like a single police officer with like a singular Glock that he points at somebody once. You don't want to work on that. You don't want to sit around for 10 hours a day while they're all doing that stuff, and you kind of help props people doodle around with whatever they need help with, and then go in and do your job for 10 minutes and then get sent home. He's not sitting there for that. Like, it's the desperation of wanting to. Again, if somehow you hear this one day, dude, it's what it's coming across as. So it's not even like the desperation, like, oh my god, it's just weird. It's weird, and even though I sincerely believe he wants to do it, I don't feel like a sincerity of like, cool, I want to be a team player in the world of armors going forward. I just want to work all these extremely cool things. That way I can, like, see the cool things. Like, I don't want to work with an armorer. If it was me hiring somebody, I don't want to work with an armorer that comes and is like, oh my god, we get to do this crazy thing. Did you see that movie star over there? Da 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 da. Last person I want to work with. Absolute last person I want to work with. Like, well, I've handed guns to A-list celebrities, and I've done training for most celebrities that I work with, because, like, even though they've looked good in a movie before, they're not continuing their firearm journey or tactical journey. So I have to retrain most of them. And at the end of the day, it's like, I don't even remember their names. Don't care. It's a job. Like, when I'm working with them, of course, I learn their names, do a thing, whatever, but, like, they're just a person. It's a person that's also showing up to do work, and you're teaching them a very important skill that's going to keep them safe from shooting somebody in a TV show, movie called Rust. But, like I said, from what it feels like with him, that's not what the intention is. The intention is just to work on cool things, rub shoulders, look at me, I did this. And I'm not going to hire that. Not going to hire that, not going to refer that. I reply to him whenever I eventually get back to his email, like, sorry bud, don't really know anybody out there, don't really know anything about the production. Whatever I can find online is going to be what you can find online. But also, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of the magic of filmmaking and the novelty of it, it hasn't worn off. Like, I get to do some really cool stuff, and I do not take that for granted one bit. But also, I'm fully aware that that is the nature of the job, and that's just part of it. Like, we have taken giant sound stages before and put them below freezing so that way we could have real snow and seeing the breath inside and everything. Where they had warming tents set up outside of the soundstage for the crew to go warm up in. It was like 25 degrees outside, and it was warmer outside than it was in the soundstage. Where we had like 4 tractor trailer industrial level chillers, bringing it down to, like, I think we had like 7 degrees or something in the stage. Cool. I've had helicopter chases, explosions, car crashes, car jumps, shootouts. You know, full green screen Avengers Endgame is something I've got my name in. You know? So the novelty's not lost on me. But also it's the acute awareness. Well, they had heaters inside the warming tents. So in the warming tents, it was like probably like 50 degrees. So not warm, but way better than 8 and way better than 20-something. Plus, if, like, you put your hand in front, because there's like the propane tall heaters that are kind of like the rectangular shape like that with the grill and the propane tank sits on the bottom, Mr. Heater or something, I don't know. Anyway, like, they did good. Yeah, so the novelty on it's not lost on me. Like, I enjoy it, I know it's a unique thing, but at the end of the day, it's just a job. And also at the end of the day, it's like, I rarely talk about it. Like, I talk about my work on here because it's like, hey, this is why I started doing this. I started doing the flying stuff to kill time when I'm not working. What do I do for work? Oh, well, I work in film, and then it's kind of hit and miss. Especially my job in film, which is this. But I don't really go into stories. Yeah, 50's bearable. Yeah, I really don't go into stories. I don't go into, like, oh my god, I've done this crazy thing, I've done this crazy thing, I've done this crazy thing. Like, I talked about the helicopter thing recently back in what, February or March, whatever it was. Because it was a short done by like a whole bunch of like personal friends that were putting it together. And it was like cool guy stuff, and it didn't even really feel like Hollywood stuff, because it was all just like homies putting something sick together. But there's so many things that I've done and so many cool things that I've seen and like put reference into, and that my opinions and creations and decisions are been seen by hundreds of millions of people. It's like I don't care. It's my job. It's what I do. There's a pride to it, yeah, because I can like see things and point. I'm like, oh, cool, I did this, and like it was a cool problem-solving thing to make this happen. Yeah, sure. But also, I could care less if I rub shoulders with anybody the entire time. She really doesn't do anything, does she? And the thing was, when it was giving me the option for a co-pilot, I was like, you know what? I'm going to make one that's like... This is going to sound really, really incelish. I was like, I might as well try to make like a relatively attractive female thing sit next to me, so it's just not like I have an ogre or whatever. This is the best looking female model that exists in Microsoft Flight Sim 2024 by a large margin. Yeah, why would she do anything? I don't trust her. At least she's keeping her feet down and her hands away from the side. A lot of the other models will have them like with their hand like right on top of the cycler the entire time. There's a runway, not the one we're going for though. We still have 70 miles. But like the Cowan Sim R22 girl, she's not bad looking. For a little computer girl where it's like, okay, cool, like I got a cutie riding next to me. We're going for a little helicopter date. This one's father beat her. Probably still does. Slowly manipulating controls, trying to put us in like a 130 slightly descending sort of attitude, because we're at like 2,700 feet right now, so I can trade a lot of that altitude that we've been slowly gaining for a little bit more effortless speed, you know. We have a little bit of a tailwind right now, so I like that. So I may actually hold this altitude. Hello, hey, what's going on? Welcome to a day stream, which the sun just set in front of us, so it's it's daytime for me where I'm at. This is the reality of flying on the other side of the planet. We have to deal with a little bit different of a time zone. Which is funny, we got into Cairo as the sun was rising. And we'll be getting to whatever this airport that we're going to just after the sun set. Or about when it's getting dark. It'll be dark when we land. I am doing good day. I'm doing pretty good. Telling them earlier, I've started doing shots of olive oil during the day. Haven't changed anything else. Still doing my normal thing, but I'm feeling much better. So that's solid. A whole bunch of rain. So that's good. Desperately needed that. Which also means the lake that I usually go to is filling up. Because they had drained it for dock maintenance and everything. Now it's just been slowly filling up, but with no rain coming and a lot of sunlight, it's been evaporating just about as quick as it can fill in. So, fingers crossed by the end of this week, lake should be at normal levels. You're descending into Heraclion right now. Is that the island that you were mentioning? I didn't get a chance to double check my maps and look at all that. I do have a lake, but there's a 9.9 horsepower limit on this lake. So it's really just a fishing and looking good lake, and not really a recreational lake. Also, the deepest part of the lake's like 15 feet, and that's in the main channel. The rest of the lake is anywhere from like a foot to 6 feet deep. And we're in the woods, so there's trees and logs and stuff like that. So it's not exactly a safe lake for recreational things. A whole bunch of nothing to the left, a whole bunch of civilization to the right. That's called coastal living. Also, I know we kind of put ourselves in this situation, but we got to cross that freaking water. Not today, but we will have to cross that. I'm going to assume this next time. So if two horses went swimming, it would hit the fan? Yeah. Exactly. There would be shit everywhere. Yeah, it's like my lake, it's like, okay, cool, muddy bottom, dirty water. The water's brown. It's never clear unless it's like no rain for a while, so you don't get like the cloudiness. So it's usually just, it's not a good looking lake. It's, like I said, it's a fishing lake. My friend, he lives on a lake that's private. Nobody's allowed on the lake, no fishing allowed on the lake unless you are a resident that's on the lake or you live in the neighborhood touching it and you have lake rights or lake access. So he has lake rights and lake access, which means I get to go to his place and we get to get on his pontoon and go hang out and talk with people and we do have the Airwolf helicopter. We do have the Bell 222 Bravo. And that might be the one that we do. I think we might do it for the next stream. Just because it's got decent range and we got to get across the water up there. Yeah, falls are very murky. Like I said, it's a good little... Oh yeah, I forgot you've been here. It's a good lake just to be at a lake, you know. It's nice and it's peaceful. But like if you want to go do recreation stuff, this is not the lake. Enough for boats, but small enough to not be a lake. Yeah, the lake I'm on, I forget the size of it in acres. It's decent sized. But it's a It's a southeast United States Georgia lake, which means there is a river running through a very small valley, and they dammed it up to whatever the level they wanted the lake to be, which, like I said, I think like the deepest at the dam is like 18 to 20 feet. It's not big. And it's very windy because there's no like big flat open areas that are big enough to like pool a huge amount of water like that or anything. So there's really no big open areas there. Everglades, no. So yeah, Georgia, which I've relatively doxed myself, but if you look up High Falls Lake in Georgia, you can see it. It's not a huge place, but it's a nice lake to live on. Unless you want to do recreation, then it's really annoying because you got water right there, but you can't. It's a decent spot for growing up, but decent spot for retiring too. But I'm at the point now where it's like, okay, cool. If I want to be on another lake, I need to find a lake that I can do lake things with. Get a jet ski or two and a little pontoon for hanging out, and a ski boat or wakeboarding boat or something. It's cool. It's a nice, like, super clean lake. Like I said, it's a private lake. The one that I do recreational stuff on, my friend lives at. Private lake, super clean. I'll do scuba diving in the lake. And even though it's still lake visibility to an extent, like, you have pretty decent visibility. Like 15 to 20 feet before it gets too cloudy. So it's not like I'm not like at the surface and looking down 15 feet and seeing the bottom. It gets dark enough down there to where you really can't see from the surface. But when you're down there, it's like, cool, you know, you can see a good 10 feet around you. His place isn't big enough for a lake yacht. I'd have to go up to like Lanier or Allatoona or something like that, which is not against my my thought process. Allatoona is something I'm considering as a place, but it's very low right now. And I don't know if they were doing maintenance and just never got itself back up, or if whatever Atlanta's becoming is just sucking up that much resource. Couldn't tell you. I think one of those is fuel pressure, one of them is fuel level. Don't know. We'll figure it out. Anyway, we got plenty to make it where we're going, so. Your local harbor, rich guy lives on the shore with 2 helipads, what a show off, and a boat that stores the said helicopter. Dang. Yeah, that's cool. Which also, I think the cool thing is, I mean, obviously, if you're owning a helicopter, you have to be in charge of a decent bit of money. That's just kind of how it is. When I say in charge, I mean, like, it can be your personal money, but you have to have some sort of authority over a chunk of change. But at the same time, like, you don't need to be filthy, stinking rich for a basic helicopter, which I think is super cool. So it's not like airplane ownership. Like, you can get into a solid Piper or Cessna or something that will do most of what you wanted to do for $70,000. Split it with a friend, $35 each. You both have a plane that you can use. Helicopter's obviously more, and I'm not even going to consider an R-22 just because it's too small to really go do anything other than train with. But if you're looking at he owns a large businesses around here. Actually, super nice guy. Oh yeah. But like we'll say R-44, so 4-seater helicopter where you can actually take friends and family somewhere with air conditioning and a decent bit of power, speed, and comfort. Get a pretty solid, basically equipped R-44 in the range of $300,000 to $350,000. Expensive, don't get me wrong, more money than I have, but it's obtainable. People pay more for houses. People spend a lot more on a whole bunch of other ridiculous shit. And if you finance your money the right way and also know that that money's not going anywhere, it's not like you're handing out $350,000 and it's going away. Even once you time it out, you still have a $150,000 asset that you can sell. So it's just being able to pay for the hours you want, but having enough financial stature to be able to part ways with that money for a while and recoup it somewhere on the other side. As Robinson is 2 rows, so yeah, R-44. If it's a turbine, it's an R-66. It's MD. So yeah, if it's a round nose, probably a 500C. If it's a pointy nose, probably a 500E. Not many people roll with a 530F. Unless you're like a police department or something like that. But anyway, yeah, it's like helicopter ownership's not ridiculously expensive compared to a lot of other things. It's just a matter of having enough of a chunk of money to put in the helicopter that you can get out of it later. Murder struck the house. Oof. That sucks. When was that? It was round, so 500C. Now it's wrecked. Yeah, that sucks. But I mean, there's a lot of... They say most pilots will have an accident every 1,200 hours or so, or some sort of incident. Of course, there's a point when that changes, when you get more and more and more. So let's say if you're flying commercially for Delta or United or something. Like, you're getting 1,200 hours every day. I mean, you're getting a lot of hours. It was lifting off and just rolled over on takeoff. Oof. Whatever, it was like a caught skid or something like that. Hit himself up in a dynamic. That sucks. Okay, so now that we're getting here... Ooh, look at that. That's cool. So yeah, like commercial pilots, they're getting significant amounts of hours anyways, just because of the nature of their job. So I think their incident every 1,200 hours is kind of moot after a certain point. But for smaller general aviation sized planes, they say like every 1,200 hours you're going to have some sort of incident or something. This house is right on a point on the bay. Yeah, wind can be a big thing. Even if you don't have anything for the skid to get caught on, if you drag your skid across the ground and the wind's pushing you in a certain way, it can create enough friction to get you started over. And then if you do not get your collective down immediately, you are going to continue to go over. Dynamic rollovers are a bitch. Yeah, so every 700 to 1,200 hours, people have an incident. Averagely. Some people never do, some people have more. And it's all nature of flying, too. Helicopters, I feel like they can be more incident prone because of the nature of what they are. And not so much what they are, but what they do. Like I have a friend that's just like, oh yeah, I never want to ride in a helicopter. I'm like, why? Like, oh, they're just so dangerous. Like, well, you can auto-rotate, you can lose your engines and land in a backyard if you wanted to. Airplanes, you gotta hope that there's a road nearby or a field, and if there's not, sorry, you're catching a tree at 100 miles an hour. Like helicopter, you know, it doesn't matter where I lose an engine, as long as I have my hand within like that split second of touching the collective, I can put us down pretty safely just about anywhere. Of course, there's trees everywhere. We're not going to land in a bunch of trees nicely, but I can have us touching the tops of the trees at an extremely slow speed instead of plowing them at 100 miles an hour. Like in a tail dragger, you keep the stick in your stomach once to stop the gust from lifting the tail. Yeah. So in a helicopter on the ground, there's really nothing that you can do if it's in a non-favorable direction and you're not facing it. Facing into it's the easiest, just because you're not fighting your tail rotor getting banged around. If it's directly behind you, obviously it'd have to be directly behind you and it wouldn't bang your tail around, but as soon as you get like a little 1 degree offset to one side, it's going to want to really spin you around. If you're head into it, it's not that big of a deal. It's just like flying, but you're just close to the ground. I've seen my airspeed gauge move as I'm hovering before, just from getting a gust that was like 15 knots on the ground. I think it was like a really like 10 to 12 knot steady day, 15 to 17 gust. So a decent split, about the upper limits of what I would want to ever fly in, 22 for splits. And there's like a limit as far as like gust splits, as far as like students and stuff, but really it's being smart. Some helicopters have advertised. They have advertised wind limits for what you can fly, and the 22 doesn't for some reason, which is weird. I think it's one of those things where you're flying in a 22, you're either a student and your instructor's not going to let you fly in high winds, or you're an instructor and you know better. But yeah, as long as you can put your nose into it, you're good. As soon as you start getting your nose out of it, if you're without power, I mean, helicopters are gliders. It's just we need our rotors spinning to glide. That's the catch. There are a few helicopters that have negative collective. Most of them have some sort of military background. So this one may. I couldn't tell you. But most of them are military type things, like, okay, cool, if you're landing on a boat or something like that, or some sort of platform that's moving while you're still running, and you need to add a few pounds of downforce, you can. But there's nothing that's like massively negative. And the big reason on that is the rotor system is really not designed to have forces put on it in that direction. Yeah, Black Hawk, I think the 53s might. I think the Gazelle does. I mean, this is the BL-105, so this is a tank killer technically. But I don't think it was ever made for like landing on some sort of ship or anything like that. Capable, yeah, obviously, but very smooth landing for you, 94 feet per minute, not bad. And we're getting close. We are 24 nautical miles from from the airport, which means if I press the G button, we can probably see this little thing in there somewhere. Yeah, one of those is the airport. So yeah, some helicopters have negative, some don't, but usually like if you're sitting on the ground, no big deal. If your blades are spinning, usually no big deal. You can put some left or right stick in it, whatever you need. Like, I mean, it's foam. There's like a metal bar being like the main rib down the middle, or like the leading edge. Metal plane doing it kind of wrapped around in like a super thin metal sheet, or like a fiberglass sheet or a composite thing. But then the inside's just like foam. There's like nothing inside of these blades. It's close to nothing. The reason it keeps it light, you know, not necessary. It's empty space. The only place it's really taking the force is the leading edge, and then at the hinge areas, it's going to be more reinforcement in the hinge areas. But a lot of the strength from the helicopter blade just comes in the forces that exist when they're spinning at 450, 500 RPM, the centrifugal force that is keeping them out straight and level. That's what keeps them happy. Just like you'll hear somebody say, like, droop the rotors. So I tried to show it in the auto rotation video that I posted yesterday, but it's not modeled in this game. But if your rotor RPM gets too low because you're pulling too much collective, or you lost engine power and you have too much collective or whatever, your rotor will slow down enough to where it no longer has enough centrifugal force to keep the helicopter lifted at first. But then when you have the extra collective in there too, there's too much force on it from all angles and it will basically taco, and that's when you have the issues. Like, the rotors aren't strong. It's not like you're like I-beams of steel. Rotating mass is good, just not a lot of it. You need a rotating lack of mass. Okay, let's start killing some altitude. We're really up here. I've just been kind of having fun climbing up to see if I can see anything to the north. The old Mediterranean Sea. Which, like, I feel like I can see something way up there, but also I'm pretty sure I don't. It's just pixels. Yeah, like, you can see videos of helicopters on like windy decks of oil platforms and stuff, and their blades will just fold. Just crinkle the blade. Done. Just because they're not rotating. Like, yeah, sure, the helicopter can fly 160 miles an hour. But when it's sitting still, the blades are like, no, we really don't want any forces that we're not used to. So kind of strange, but that's also the nature of it. Just like airplane wings, they fail under different conditions that are not what airplanes are supposed to deal with. You get outside their G limit, done. I wonder which one of these is our airport. It's something up here. Also, for this being a Tuesday, is today Tuesday? Yeah, for this being Tuesday, middle of the day, a surprising number of people have come through to say hey, so that's cool. Double a static mass because of the speed or something. I think it's directional, technically. directional, the amount of speed that it is spinning, etc. I know a lot of them will actually get lighter as they get farther out towards the end because they'll need less reinforcements in some bits, but then obviously some more because the outside of the blade's going faster, some more air resistance. But there's all different sorts of drags and forces and stuff going on. I've got a whole book on helicopter aerodynamics that I like to read whenever I need to fall asleep because these people get deep into it. I know all the standard stuff that you really need to know when you're flying, as far as drag curves and how those affect performance and whatever, but there's so much to it, and I don't want to call it a magic box, but there's a point when I say, like, okay, cool, like, I don't understand the physics of how the blades work, material science-wise. Obviously, I understand how they make you fly, but material science-wise, like, cool, if you say this thing works here and does this, and it's got millions of hours flown on it, cool, I'm going to trust it. I'm not going to push myself past that anymore. It's something I'd like to get into one day, yeah, sure, but I don't have the bandwidth to deal with that at the moment. Oh yeah, putting wheels on cars is huge differences. But I think that's more, so there's unsprung mass, which is obviously something that you're more familiar with setup and stuff. But then I'm trying to, I can't remember the relationship for rotating mass, because you put lighter weight wheels on your car, you're going to accelerate quicker, because 1 pound set out at 28-inch diameter, we'll just say that for like standard drag tire or something. There's a benefit, I just don't remember what the equivalent benefit is, you know. Oh, also, I don't think you were in here early below heat, but this is the BL-105, so this is the helicopter that the Red Bull people use, which means we can do stuff like this. I mean, like, I can do this in the other helicopters in the sim, but this is one that you can just do that with, because it's aerobatically rated with its rotor head design. Yeah, it takes less energy to spin them. And then also, that's a thing with helicopters, but once it's spinning, the inertia is a big thing. And despite what you would assume in a vehicle for wheels, you do want a higher inertia rotor system for safety. I don't care how long this thing takes to spin up. If I need to sit on the ground for a minute while it gets up to speed, so be it. But I'll tell you what, in the Robinson R22, if I were to have an engine failure, and I'm sitting here like cruising power so my collective's pulled a decent bit, if I have an engine failure and I don't have my collective on the ground within like 2 seconds, 2 to 3 seconds, you're dead. DE80, dead. You will have lost enough rotor RPM because you don't have the inertia necessary to fight the air resistance of having that much pitch in the system. That's why if you look at anything that people are like, oh dude, that helicopter's a dream to auto-rotate when I flew it. You know what you hear that from? The Huey. It's got massive blades on it. So low inertia is nice. Yeah, with tires, different thing. It's not life-changing, but going from stock 17s on the Lexus to Forge Wet Sports that were both 17s, 17.8, 17.9. 4 pounds of wheel's good. That's significant. Oh, it's definitely a noticeable difference. Yeah, I don't think the power moving it up to speed is really that big of an issue for helicopter-based sort of things. Automotive things, yeah, obviously you want the lightest wheel you can get that's not going to break when you put any sort of power or G-force or significant amounts of grip through it. Well, that has me a weird final. The airport's over here. Okay. I don't need finals. So I want to turn on my landing light, which I believe is on. It's facing down. How do we fix that? I want a landing light facing forward. Let me click this button here, and it like rotates out forward. See? So I have like a headlight. I have never run Dunlops. I was a Falcon boy for a while, and then there was a stint when I wasn't doing a lot of track stuff, and I went to like Michelin, like Sport Cups or something for daily driving. Smooth but still grippy, you could have a lot of fun with them, etc. So annoying, this GPS thing. Yeah, cool. Where do we want to park? Because this is the airport here. Military airport, so weird layouts and everything. And for anybody who's catching into here now, like blow heat, I wasn't planning on doing a lot today. I just wanted to move up the coast some. And now obviously we're at sunset, so I'd like to not push past that just for viewing pleasure. So we'll come all the way up here to the northwest side of the airport. Let's see. Yeah, we'll park behind the fuel farm over here. There's a little private ramp up here. I like that. There we go. Okay, Stealthy Face, you made the whole flight, because I'm done for the day. We got a quick jump in, and that puts us... We could probably do this jump tomorrow, because that doesn't look like it's much further. So let's do a shutdown real quick. Gotta figure out how to shut this thing down. I don't think I've ever done a shutdown on this particular helicopter. Actually, I'm gonna leave the instrument light on for a second. Okay, so yeah, engine 2 shutting down there. Yeah, perfect timing for you. Oh yeah, no problem. Always willing to stream when I have the time, and today we had some time and I get out of here by 1:50 p.m. Not a bad deal. Got rid of that one too. Going to turn landing light off. Stow our little light. Fold itself back up inside. Very cool. Engines are shut down. Just the things are spinning right now. So we'll leave that on. We can turn those off. We have a rotor brake over here. Let's see. Is that handleable here? Boy, really threw the brakes on that thing, but then it's a rental, so we're good. That off. Pitot heat off. Strobe, we'll leave that on because when we turn the battery off, that'll get that too. Cool. Shift C. Cool. Thank you, Roman Atwood, for letting us use your helicopter today. Thank you, Blowheat, Southeast Aviation. Who else do we have in here earlier? Helicopter King, David Rogers. And anybody else who I missed who jumped in. Quick flight today. We're now somewhere on the north side of Egypt. And I think tomorrow we're going to do a... Or not tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow. We'll see. Let's put ourselves in the 222. I think that's going to be our chariot for tomorrow. Let's see. Configure. We'll throw fuel. We're just going to do a little pre-planning right here then. Also, Airwolf. Fuel we can do that much. So we flew all the way up to this one today. And we'll just say from here, says departure. That puts our range all the way to this island, which is the big thing that I want. So we could go all the way up here and have a shorter island hop. But that's a huge right triangle here when we could just straight over. So I think this will be our next flight, which is well within one tank on the 222. It's moving, scooting, boot scooting, boogie. That'll be fine. We may even get up here and say, cool, let's go ahead and shoot for like mainland Greece. Which I think this is still an island technically, but it's more mainland. So yeah, next episode we're leaving Africa. We're going to be in Europe, either here or somewhere up here. And then episode after that we'll finish with a jump into Italy somehow. I'm still feeling confident that saying episode 100 will put us back in Georgia where we started, but then we're going to do a jump down here just to touch South America real quick. But anyway, that's it, everybody. Blowheat, thanks for being here. Southeast Aviation, everybody, as I said, always much appreciated. But we're going to get out of here. Enjoy the rest of your day, guys.